Imagine this, Danny Vineyard's morning disruptions aren't your typical alarm clock woes. No, he's jolted awake by the sounds of his brother Derek's car becoming a hot target for theft. Racing to Derek's room, Danny bursts in to find him, rather occupied. But duty calls. Derek, ever the hothead and adorned with, let's say, controversial skin art, snatches a gun and makes a beeline downstairs. And just like that, he's confronting the young thieves, a scene that spirals into a chilling display of gunfire. Fast forward 3 years in the slammer for Derek, and back at school, Danny decides to stir the pot. Assigned to write about a human rights hero, he cheekily picks none other than Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf. Talk about poking the bear. His horrified teacher dashes off to the principal, campaigning for Danny's academic exile. But Principal Dr. Sweeney, seeing a glimmer of redemption in Danny, opts for a different route. He launches an intensive one-on-one course dubbed American History X, aimed to reshape Danny's worldview, one history lesson at a time.
So, get this. Danny's got this wild assignment to pen down his thoughts about his bro Derek, who used to be top dog in a neo-Nazi crew. Talk about a family drama. Reluctant at first, Danny's arm is twisted by Mr. Sweeney, who won't take no for an answer. Flash to school, and it's showtime in the bathroom where some bullying action is going down. A bunch of black students corner a white kid over a cheating tiff. But wait, out comes Danny, smoky and all, straight out of a stall showdown. He puffs smoke right into a bully's face. Words fly, tensions mount, but then, school bell to the rescue. The bullies scatter, and Danny, playing the cool cat, advises the kid to stand his ground in the future. On another note, Principal Sweeney clocks into the police station, ready to spill the beans on good old Cameron Alexander. Imagine a guy penning hate while chilling with the Disciples of Christ gang. As they flip through a video of young Derek, memories flood back about Derek's dad, a hero firefighter, tragically taken by drug dealers. Quite the backstory, huh?
Get ready for a whirlwind of emotions. We kick off at the basketball court where Danny spots a familiar face from a tense encounter earlier. Flashback alert. We remember Derek, the basketball legend. But wait, things heat up. Derek and Seth find themselves in a heated exchange with some of the local kids. It's showdown time, a high-stakes basketball match where the winners claim the Rake Center courts. Boom. Derek takes an elbow to the face, but his team triumphs, and, oh boy, the court is theirs. Cut to Derek's coming home day. The family's ecstatic, but Danny's got a surprise, a tattoo echoing Derek's past. But plot twist, prison's reshaped Derek. He's ditched his old racist ways, and who pops in? It's Seth, waving a mysterious videotape. What's on that tape? Stay tuned. Pull up a chair, folks, because the drama is real. Imagine a family where everyone can't stand this one guy, except for sweet Danny, the gem among them. Danny spills the beans in a video, confessing his disdain for the black community, all while good old Derek is on the line with the wise Dr. Sweeney. After the unexpected eavesdropping, Derek swoops in, playing the role of the unsolicited advisor, pushing Danny towards Sweeney's sage words, switch it up. Now Derek promises his fam he's gonna sort their money woes, and zooms off with his buddy Sage. Meanwhile, Danny, seething about being strong-armed to follow Dr. Sweeney's orders, takes a deep dive into his memories of Derek, and oh, it gets juicy. Enter Cameron Alexander, the notorious racist who takes young, impressionable Derek under his wing. Together, they whip up a storm, forming their own, not-so-merry band of thugs, the dog fueled by hate speech. They paint the town red, attacking a supermarket run by Koreans and staffed by African Americans and Latinos. Pure chaos ensues. Oh, the drama unfolded at that dinner table. Danny reminisced about the good old days, and oh boy, did things heat up quickly. Derek and Marie were at it, throwing verbal punches over Rodney King's notorious case. Derek was frustrated with how the media painted African Americans, and just when you thought dessert might calm the storm, it only stirred it more. Derek's girlfriend chimed in, fanning the flames, and when Derek's sister Dina tried to exit stage left, Derek, out of nowhere, got physical. The room's energy skyrocketed as everyone jumped in to shield Dina from Derek's outburst. The climax, Derek drops a racist bomb and dismisses Marie with a "you're not my family" line that could chill any room. His mom, absolutely floored by Derek's outburst, declared her deep disappointment. Imagine a family dinner turning into a scene straight out of a dramatic flick.
Oh, let the drama unfold. There's Derek, his eyes simmering with rage. Not an ounce of regret as the cops haul him away. All while Danny watches in disbelief. Fast forward, and we're at this raucous white supremacist shindig. Picture this. A hardcore skinhead band is tearing it up. Beers are flowing like Niagara Falls, and Danny, he's just timidly tapping a keg. Enter Cameron Alexander, the puppet master, eyeing Danny as the new poster boy for his twisted crusade. Easy pickings, since Danny's soaking up the attention like a sponge. But wait, here's Derek, sneaking out with his gal. She's baffled. Why ditch your fan club? But hey, he's got bigger fish to fry. Cut to Derek barging in on Danny and Cameron's cozy chat. He pulls Danny out, faces Cameron, and drops the bomb. He's out. Cameron's all bluster, saying he doesn't care since Danny's the new golden boy. Ouch, that stings. Derek, fuming, throws a tantrum and lands a punch on Cameron. Talk about a party foul.
Boys and girls, strap in for a wild ride. As Derek saunters out into the party's mayhem, his girlfriend turns super spy, rallying the troops with some heavy accusations. Oh, the drama. But wait, through the chaos emerges Danny, Derek's beacon, signaling a quick escape. They're about to dip when bam! Their pal Seth flips the script, goes all action hero and whips out a gun. Partygoers scatter like bowling pins. Cool as a cucumber, Derek disarms Seth, sidesteps disaster, and they're off, leaving a storm of confusion in their wake. But the plot thickens. Back at the ranch, Danny's on Derek's case, itching for answers. Smooth talker Derek tames the beast with tales from the slammer. Imagine this. Derek, dodging danger, decides to buddy up with the bad guys, flaunting his ink to fit in. His swastika tat? Yep, it's his golden ticket to the cool kids table. Talk about survival tactics.
African American named Lamont, who humorously describes himself to be the most powerful person in the prison. He tells him that in that prison Derek's the minority and needs to watch out. A year into his sentence, he had already gotten involved with the Aryan Brotherhood for protection, but then saw them sell drugs to rival gangs, and realizing they were not true to their supposed beliefs, he comments that there was a lot of talking and no following through. He gets a visit from his mother, and though he despises visitations, he sits down and has a very emotional conversation, which he angrily walks out while his mother is still sitting there. Derek continues working alongside Lamont, the African American inmate, serving time for assaulting a police officer. Initially Derek wouldn't even talk to him, but over time Lamont's perseverance breaks through Derek's barriers, leading to moments of laughter and friendship as they bond over basketball. He learns that the Brotherhood didn't believe in whatever they said they stood for, and so he grew disillusioned with the Aryan Brotherhood. He eventually decides to. In a jaw-dropping twist of fate, Derek decides to turn his back on the notorious Aryan Brotherhood. Big mistake. As retribution, they corner him in the shower for a savage beatdown. Just when things couldn't look bleaker, Dr. Sweeney shows up, not just for chit-chat, but to dish out a hefty dose of reality. He's like, "Hey, you are trailing your brother down misery lane, buddy." Shocking Derek awake to his senseless life choices. Sweeney sees Derek's defeated nod and swoops in with a life-changing book. Fast forward 6 months, and who's the scholar walking out of prison? Derek, with a hefty thank you to Lamont, his rock throughout his sentence, promising him brighter days ahead. What a turnaround, folks. Imagine this. Danny listens to his brother pouring his heart out about how his constant anger made him feel lost. And guess what? He's over it. He's tired of the anger. He gently explains to Danny, not telling him what to do, but sharing his own insights. They both know they're not just brothers but best friends too. So, back at home, after everyone's tucked in, they head to Danny's room and, plot twist, start stripping the walls of all those intense posters and flags. Fast forward to the next morning, Danny's busy scribbling away, reflecting on his past infatuation with Nazi ideologies. Spoiler alert, he's finally seeing the big flaws. School time rolls around, and as he heads to meet his parole officer, his brother Derek walks him there. But oh no, there's more drama brewing. A cop shows up with Dr. Sweeney, and they've got a proposition about his old gang. Derek's first instinct? No, I'm a changed man. But Dr. Sweeney isn't having any of it. He pulls Derek aside and lays down the truth. Since Derek helped stir up this mess, it's time for him to clean it up. It's all about finding peace, eventually. And there we leave Derek, pondering his next moves. Will he step up? Stay tuned.